Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through some players who are on the move from the January transfer window that has just been and gone, which I believe are going to be really favourable for the player, for their new team and or league. And again, if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button and like the video while you're at it. It'll mean a great deal for me and the channel. And yeah, let's just get into the players. And if you want a part 2 to this, make sure to leave a like and I'll make sure to drop another one very soon. Now we're going to start off with the cheapest on the list, which is a guy called Reese Healey, and he's just moved from Watford to Huddersfield Town. They're still in the Championship. At £1.11 at the moment as floor price, and even £10 for the rare. I don't think it's that bad at all. L15 to 42, so nice and low for any cap mode users out there. But you can see from his scores, like I said, it's all up and down, but that's because he kept coming off the bench for Watford. Now, Huddersfield Town aren't very good. They are near the bottom of the Championship. I think hence the price for Reese at the moment. 41.50 in the first game he played. He did get a shot on target, and he also had a shot on target in his other game also, and he had to come off after 24 minutes due to an injury, but he still got a clearance off the line, which is very nice indeed. Now, as you can see from Reese Healey's expected XG and XA, which is expected goals and expected assists, you can see here he's in the 95% percentile, which is really good. Any dark greens or light greens are a good sign of someone at least contributing to the team. And take in mind, this is, I believe, his little flurries he had off the bench with Watford. So the fact he's getting some good XA and some XG speaks volumes at the moment. So he's a half decent player, and he did actually do really well in his time in Toulouse in the French league. So this was his time back at Toulouse. Like I said, this was on, I believe, League 2 when Toulouse were in League 2. 13 appearances with 16 goals and 2 assists to his name during that time. So from what you can see here, yeah, it's all the League 2 teams at that point in time. And yeah, like I said, he didn't do too bad. Basically a goal every other game, every second, third game, or a goal contribution at least. And yeah, I think it's a solid shout nonetheless. So I firmly believe Reese Healey is going to be a decent player at Huddersfield Town. Regardless if they get relegated or not, I don't think there's too much risk to it at £1.11. You can actually maybe go even see my previous video, which would have been about cheap cap 240 mode players, and he can fit straight into that mold. Even in the rares at £10.70, we're not too sure what the injury is. I think it's not too serious or anything too serious, but again, he should be back in no time. Now we've got Kaden Clark here, formerly from Leipzig. I believe he's just moved and transferred permanently to Minnesota United, back to the MLS. Leipzig had originally had bought him from the MLS. I believe it's from New York Red Bulls, where he was having a really good shining season, and I think he was only like 17, 18 as well. So that was the reason why they bought him, and I'll showcase that to you in a minute. But I believe this guy had a long-term injury. I've seen countless amount of things on Twitter, etc., that he was trying to do performance tests for, I think was due to a long-term injury. And for £2.22, I don't think it's that much of a risk to it as well. Minnesota have some really good attacking players in their team, and I think Clark can definitely showcase his skills with the likes of someone like Minnesota, if they've got the likes of someone like Reynoso and Teemu Pukki, for example, the ex-Norwich striker. So as you can see here, he didn't play over the whole year, from obviously this and last year. But if we go all time and then we go on to the MLS, which is this one here, you can see he was hitting some really nice scores back in the time, it was showing here, back in 2020, so he would have been literally 16, 17 years old. A lot of random DMPs are not working. Maybe he's a very injury prone player, so you're going to have to look that up yourself, of course. But obviously the skill and the player and the talent is probably there. I don't know all too much about the player. I thought this was quite a fun little example to give, that someone like Kaden Clark is moving back to the MLS, someone who's, you know, learned the trade, so to speak, over in Germany, and hopefully he's going to put that trade to use back in the MLS with a good attacking team like Minnesota United. And like I said, only 20 years old as well, which is silly how long this guy's been around for, from what I can see in regards to his SO5 scores. So if we get rid of the times during the time where he had random DMPs and sub appearances, they're respectable scores. And like I said, take in mind, this was around the time between, looks like 16 to 18 in the MLS. So what's Kaden going to be like with Minnesota? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about the player, but for £2, you can't go too wrong for someone who's under 23 till July 1st, 2027. It just looks like he's probably prone to injuries, unfortunately, but time will only tell. And like I said, if you get him for about £1.50, £1.80 or something like that, so a little bit cheaper, I think it's a really good buy. And like I said, not too much risk to it at all, but a lot of upside potential. Now we have here Nicolas Lodeiro, formerly of Seattle Sounders last season, or has been there for quite some time, and is just signed with Orlando City, I believe, as a free agent, just for, looks like, the year till December 31st, 2024. £3.33 at the moment, 80 quid in rare. It's a shame because a lot of people thought he was going to retire at the age of 34. Shame I didn't get to pick him up. But as you can see here from his scores from last season and the season prior, he puts up some good, respectable scores, and was definitely Seattle Sounders' creative spark every now and again when they needed it. So if we get rid of, again, the times he was subbed, you can see here, putting up some lovely, respectable scores there. He had, for some reason, had a lot of sub appearances near the back end of the MLS season last season. So again, I'll leave that up to you to check, but it's probably because he was just winding down his contract, and I don't know if he was refused a contract or he refused a contract, so not too sure, but someone like this is really intriguing. So if we just look at his time with the no sub appearances or DMPs, because he should be getting a starting spot in Orlando City's roster or squad. In the last year, he's hit 13.7 positive AA, and in the last 6 months was 15.8 positive AA as well, which again is really, really solid. So I don't mind someone like this. Obviously, I don't think he's going to go past this year in the MLS. I think he will probably go, being Uruguayan, probably go to the Uruguayan League, Argentine League, something like that in South America. And in which case, yeah, he hasn't got a whole lot long left in the MLS, so it's a short-term option, but a good one at that, I think. Now we have Arjosha, formerly of Slaven, has moved to Dynamo Zagreb, who are in the top 3 of the HNL League in the Croatian League. £4.62 currently, only 25 as well, which is nice and lovely. L15 of 51, L5 of 51 also. £60 for the rare, not too bad at all. And for someone who's putting up scores like this at the moment, even back at the time where he's playing for Slaven, who are, I think, are like 3rd or 4th from the bottom. Yep, Slaven were in 7th place. And yeah, he hasn't done too shabby at all. So in the last 2 games he's had with Dynamo Zagreb, he's played last 3. In the last 2, he's had a nice shot on target, and the game that's just been recently as well had another 2 shots on target, and this is from the basically left attacking mid, left wing position. So basically since the start of the HNL League, he has got 4 goals in 18 appearances. You know, not too bad, but definitely looks like he's going to be getting better service though for Dynamo Zagreb than what he was at Slaven, so that's definitely something you've got to take in mind. But for someone like this, for only £4.60 as well, the Croatian League has a long time to go. You've also got Europa Conference League utility with him also, and you can see here they play a boatload of games. And with Dynamo Zagreb being one of the better teams in the league, there is no real bad matchup unless you're playing like Hajduk Split or you're playing Rijeka, for example. But apart from that, it's very much win-win on either side. You get some really good utility from him using him midweek. And like I said, they are the favourites when it comes to the majority of fixtures they have during the season. Next player I have is Kevin Van Veen. And I really like the look of this guy at the moment because, like, again, I'll show you in a minute his scores, but you can see from his scores there, L5 of 61, L15 of 63, so don't use him in cat modes, it'll be a waste. But something in like Challenger Europe is definitely an ideal player to use in that instance. So from the scores you can see here, these are his scores from the time he was with Motherwell initially in the Scottish League. He then got a move and was forced basically a move to Groningen, who had just been relegated to the 2nd tier of the Eredivisie. But you can see here from his last run of games for Motherwell, goal. He scored like 10, 12 games in a row, scoring a goal for Motherwell, and they decided to cash that in at the time. And from what you just saw beforehand, he has moved to Kilmarnock, who are quite a decent little team in the Scottish League, especially probably better than Motherwell at the moment. So this is quite an intriguing transfer, quite a good little transfer, and for someone of his quality, for £5, someone we know who can do it really well. Even in his time, his limited time that he had with Groningen, he was still scoring goals left, right and centre. and the only appearance he's had so far was a 4-minute cameo he had against his old team Motherwell the other weekend. I personally have Kevin in my gallery. I've had him since he was about £1, and I've just left him in there, so hopefully I can utilise him very soon. They do play Livingston, I should say, very, very soon. So I think picking up someone like this for £5 is not too shabby at all. And again, not much risk. Put him in your Challenger Europe squads, and hopefully he's going to kickstart scoring those goals very, very soon for Kilmarnock. Next up, we have Gabriel Strefessa. So basically, yeah, as you can see, we're slowly inclining in price, and this one here is £7.39 as of time recording. 42 L15, which is lovely and low indeed, and he has just moved to Como, who I believe is sitting 3rd in the Serie B. He has moved from Lecce to Como, and yeah, not too bad at all. I think it's a loan with an obligation to buy at the end of the European season, and for his first game for Como, they seem to probably see it as worth it. 27.5 AA positive score with a goal to go with that. Shame about the yellow card, but the goal is lovely for your debut nonetheless. And like I said, with Como sitting in 3rd place, it's lovely to get himself in a team who is doing really well within the league. Good attacking team as well, scoring 32 goals and 23, which isn't too shabby at all. And hopefully are just like almost on the cusp of being promoted. And you don't want to be promoted to the Serie A, of course, because it'll be even more difficult for Como players. But if they can stay in the Serie B, as backwards as that sounds, he will do really well, I believe. Next here we have Umut Nayir, who's formerly of, as you can see here, Fenerbahce, and has just recently moved to Pendikspor. L15 of 47 is lovely, L5 of 62, which is really nice, shows he's in form. £7.50 floor price at the time recording. As you can see here, his last 4 games, he's had a decisive in each game. Even in his time initially before going to Fenerbahce, he was with Anranyaspor. I probably butchered that. 13 appearances, 8 goals and 1 assist, which is really lovely indeed. And like I said briefly before, 4 appearances, 3 goals and 1 assist so far with Pendikspor. So this guy is obviously a out and out good goal scorer. Probably not the best in regards to picking up some positive AA, but a good goal scorer nonetheless. And for a team like Pendikspor, who are near the bottom, I should say, of the Super League in the Turkish league, and for only £7.50, he's not doing too shabby at all. And yeah, 30 years old, so still got a couple more years left in him as well. So I wouldn't say it's too bad to maybe just pick yourself up one, but I'll leave that up to you. Next, we have Armando Broha. The Albanian has moved to Fulham on loan from Chelsea. With under 23 utility and obviously a good player as well, and only at £7.50 as well. Fulham, I think, are going to match him really, really well, in my personal opinion. L15 to 32 with an L5 30. Now, if we look back at the period, he did, I believe it was an ACL or some sort of ligament in his knee, I think it was, that caused him to be out for so long. And now if we go all time and we go for his teams for the time he was at Southampton, like I said, he was putting up some reasonable scores there, even though at the time they were in the Premier League struggling to score goals. Raul Jimenez didn't seem to be hitting it for Fulham at all, scoring a goal every 3, 4, 5, 6 games. It looked like he wasn't very consistent, and Fulham obviously need that, and I think Armando Broha is definitely a great pickup for them, especially just on loan. It's almost like a try before you buy if they do end up selling him, of course, Chelsea anyway. But yeah, £7.50 at the moment, getting for less, £6.50. That would be really, really good buy in my opinion. And the under 23 utility, like I said, for another couple of years left in him as well, I think is really solid and really underutilized actually. So again, I'll leave that up to you guys, what you think, and leave the comments below if you think I'm wrong. We now have Fabio Carvajal. The Liverpool player was put out on loan to RB Leipzig in Germany, which he wasn't getting any game time. So now they've recalled him and they've loaned him back out, strangely enough, to Hull City in the Championship. I say strangely, but Hull are doing quite decently at the moment. I believe they're sitting in 5th or 6th place in the Championship. L5 of 40, L15 of 35. Like I said, it's low because Leipzig just didn't want to play him for some reason. We obviously know he's a good player, but from what you can see here in his first 3 games, obviously he's putting up some half decent scores for Hull City. Also has the under 23 utility till July 1st of 2027. So again, another 3 years left in that. £10 maybe a little steep, but he does play for Liverpool generally anyway, and when he comes back from Hull City, most likely will be a starter, I'd assume, if he has a good season for Hull. And with Hull sitting in 6th place at the moment, I don't think they're actually that bad of a team at the moment. 43 goals in 29 appearances as well, games I should say, isn't too bad at all. So do I think Fabio Carvajal would do really well this season for Hull? Yes, I do believe so. He has got the potential and, you know, did really well for his time at Fulham anyway, and that was in the Premier League. So yeah, I firmly believe he can do really well at a team like Hull, considering if he can just maybe pick up some good consistent form and game time and pick up a few goals and assists, I think he'll be back in Liverpool in no time. And the last player I have for you guys here is going to be Aljoshua Kimlin. He is from Union Berlin and he has moved on loan to St. Pauli in the 2nd tier of the Bundesliga. Now, he's had a great start so far to St. Pauli, which I'll show you in a minute. L15 is 65, L5 is 65, shows the scores he's putting up since that point. You can see that during his rise in his limited prices. And you can see that in just his last 3 games that he's played since being at St. Pauli, all being positive with 20, 27 and 8 AA positive all round. And also with 2 assists in his last game, hitting him a nice healthy 78 pointer. And not only that, St. Pauli are sitting firmly and comfortably, I should say, in 1st place in the 2nd tier of the Bundesliga, sitting in 42 points, 5 points ahead of 2nd place Hamburg. So I believe a move like this to a creative player like himself is going to do really, really well, considering the last 3 games he's had nothing but great positive AA scores. So that obviously accompanied with the decisive scoring capabilities that he has, I firmly believe this guy is going to be doing really, really well in the 2nd tier of the Bundesliga. But anyway guys, that is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video and comment below if you want anything else similar to this. But I will see you all guys later. Bye bye.